Oh my goodness, guess what? We're back. Yes, we're back yet again. Hello everyone. It's Adrian, and I hope you're having a great day so far, and you're welcome. Welcome back to a channel where I talk about my unfiltered thoughts and opinions that nobody asked for. If that sounds like something that you're into, like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get right into today's episode. Now, as you've seen from the title, today I'm going to be talking about a spiritual concept that I've been quite like exploring for a while now, and it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a really long time, and that is whether we humans, us, me and you, whether we choose the families that we were born into, whether we chose the families that we were born into before coming here to have this human experience, coming into this universe, world, earth, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in. And again, this is something that I've wanted to talk about for a really long time, and it's a spiritual concept that I always used to find really intriguing and fascinating. And I was like, oh my god, when I first read about it and heard about it when I was a little kid, I was like, there is no way, like this is really like this is nuts. And I'm not a kind of like a woo-woo kind of person. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. If you think this is what it's about, it's not about that, because I'm not that kind of person. But also, you guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, you would know that I'm a pretty spiritual person. I always find these different spiritual concepts really interesting and fascinating, and it's things that I always like to like explore, you know what I mean, and do my own research and learn as much as I possibly can about them, because you guys know I'm a really curious person. I like to learn everything about every single thing there is out there to learn about, and this spiritual concept happens to be one of them. And it's just like when I first read about it and heard about it, and it's something that a lot of religions touches on and all that kind of stuff, and all these religious books. I don't know if you are a religious person yourself, but if you are, you would know about this. You would know about this spiritual concept. And, it talks about the fact that as humans chose the kinds of families that we're born into, before coming here into this earth, into this universe, this world, to have this human experience. We chose our parents, our siblings, we chose our aunties and uncles, and we chose our cousins, basically the kind of families that we're born into. And we did all of that to come into this universe and this world to basically learn and grow as souls. You know what I mean? Again, this is something that I never really used to like believe in, because I'm like, this is crazy to think about, to tell me that before I came into this world, I knew what I came here to do, and I basically chose my family, my parents, my siblings, aunts, uncles, and all that kind of stuff, cousins. And now I'm here and I just don't know about it. And the thing is, they always talk about the fact that we were not supposed to know that, because we chose that, then we chose to forget it. Because what's the point of coming into this earth knowing all this information? You know what I mean? Like, you chose the kind of families that you wanted to be born into, because we all wanted to learn something from these people and from this human experience, generally speaking. And again, we chose that, but then we chose to forget it so that it could, I guess, work. And when I first read about that and heard about that when I was a little kid growing up, I was like, man, this is crazy, this is insane, this is some kind of woo-woo stuff. And no, it's just something that I really didn't want to believe in. I was like, dude, this is insane, like, please. Again, it's something that a lot of like religions have touched on, and just like even spiritually speaking, in Buddhism and all this kind of stuff, this is a thing. It's something, it's a belief, it's a strong belief that people really do believe in. Again, and I'm a really curious person. I've always wanted to like explore this and talk about this, and it's just something that I wanted to do with you guys. At first, I really used to be like, dude, shut up. Anytime somebody would bring that up, I'd always be like, dude, shut up, this is stupid, this is dumb, this is not a real thing, and all that kind of stuff. But also, as much as I did not believe that much into that kind of like concept, I also like to question things. Sometimes I used to like sit with myself and ask myself like, wait, is this thing true? What if it's true? You know what I mean? And at this point, whether it's true or not, I do not care. I've just gotten to a point where I'm like kind of starting to believe it. And before, again, I never used to believe it, but now I'm in a point where I kind of do believe it. And I'll tell you why. Whether it's true or not, at this point, I do not care. You know what I mean? If that's the case, if that is true, because before I would sit with myself and ask myself, like, why would I choose my parents? Like, literally, when you like have fights with your, I don't know, it could be your parents, anyone in your family, and maybe you just have these people in your family that you have like you just do not get along with, for God knows what, for whatever reason, you just like do not get along with them. And with me, I always used to like ask myself this question, like, if this is the kind of like this is the kind of like family dynamics that I have in my own family, like, why would I choose these people? Again, I'm not saying this to imply that I don't have a good relationship with my family or anything like that. I do. I have a great relationship with every single one of them. I'm just like trying to give you an example. But anytime I would have a fight or a disagreement with somebody, I would always like sit with myself, and this concept would always come back to me in my head and pop up in my mind, and I would ask myself, like, why, if this is true, like, why would I choose my family? Like, why would I choose them? Why would I choose my parents or my siblings or my cousins or my aunt or uncles? It could be anyone. Like, why would I choose these people? It doesn't make any sense to me. Again, it's not like I don't like these people. I love them, but again, it's just a question that I always used to ask myself: why would I choose these people specifically? But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I look at every single thing, and after like years of like observing and studying all these relationships that I have in my life, my family and friends to be specific, all these dynamics that I have in my own family, I've just come to a point where I'm like, now I understand why I would choose my family. I understand why I would like specifically choose my family. Whether this concept is real or not, I do not care. You know what I mean? I do not care whether it's true or not. But like from me observing the dynamics that I have in my family and how I relate to every single one of these people that I have in my family, and what I've learned from them and what they've taught me, not from like teaching me, but like from me observing and watching them, I now fully kind of, not fully, but like I kind of do understand why I would choose my family specifically. I do understand why, if that's true and we all chose our family before coming here, I now kind of do understand why I would choose my family and my parents and my siblings and aunts and cousins and all these people and friends and all these people that I basically have in my circle. Like, I really do get it. Like, before I used to look at these things and like look at this concept and be like, this is dumb stuff. Like, I do not even want to think about it. But now I'm able to like sit and look at every single relationship that I have in my life and be like, well, now it makes sense. Like, if this is true, it fully makes sense to me why I would choose them specifically. Like, it really does make sense. And I do not want to sound like a crazy person. I promise I'm not. I don't want to sound. I don't want you to watch this and be like, dude, shut up. You're clearly losing it. I'm not. You know what I mean? Let's start there. And I just find it really, really interesting. And I just like, I get it. I truly now fully understand why I would choose my family specifically. I really, really do. At the moment, you just take that time to be more observant and be more present in your life and the people that you have in your life, I feel like you would also come to this point where you like understand that. You know what I mean? Again, whether it's true or not, I do not care. I understand why I would choose them specifically if it were to be true. Because let's be honest, I do not know what kind of dynamics that you have with your family currently, whether you have a good relationship with all of them or some of them. It doesn't really matter. Something that I know for a fact is that there is always something that you can learn from somebody. It doesn't matter whether you like them or not, or whether you're like related to them or not, whether they're good, whether they're a good person, not a good person, whether they are smart or dumb or interesting or not the most interesting, or a good person to be around or not a good person to be around. Again, it doesn't matter who you have in your life. And here I'm talking about family. but I also feel like there is always something that you can learn from someone. You know what I mean? They don't have to like actively teach you something like, hey, like actively and practically teach you something like, don't do this, don't do that, this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. I feel like there is always something that you can learn from somebody and the people in your life by simply watching them and observing them. Oh my goodness. And I'm gonna like speak for myself, you know what I mean? I feel like going back to that same concept of the fact that we chose our families before coming here, and now looking at every single at all the dynamics that I have in my life with my family. Now I can understand, like, because I can understand that because I have learned so much from the people in my life, my family, so much to the point where most people go out into the real world out there with this like most people go into the real world when they're like still naive. When they're still naive, they still don't know much about people. They haven't learned much about people, so it's easy for people to like manipulate them or lie to them and all this kind of stuff. So they're like still naive. You know, they still have to like be in the real world for a really long time in order for them to learn the true nature of people and how people can be by people. Screwing them over, whether it's in a good way or bad way. Like at some point you're gonna have to go out there and learn the true nature of people and meet different kinds of people out there who are gonna teach you something, good or bad. You're gonna meet liars, manipulators, you know, narcissists, good people, you know, loving people, selfless people. You're literally gonna meet all kinds of people there is to meet out there. And I feel like with me, I've gotten to learn that within my family. You know, I didn't really need to go out into the real world in order for me to learn about all these different dynamics and all these types of people, because I can guarantee you that in every single family there is every single kind of person that you can literally think about. I'm sure in every single family there is good people, bad people, narcissists, manipulators, you know, insecure people. Every single kind of person that you can think about, every single family has. And with me, from being again observant now for these past years and just like being more present with all these relationships that I have in my life, I've gotten to learn so much to the point where I am not naive. Like, I'm really not. Like, I've learned so much about so many people, and I've learned a lot of things from every single person that I have in my life, whether they know or not. And most of these things, these people did not have to come out here and teach me, like, do this, do that, don't do this, do that. No, because I am a really observant person. I do not have to wait for me to make all these mistakes in order for me to learn something. I learn most things from watching people. You know what I mean? If someone in my life does something bad and like they have to like learn that lesson the hard way, I will not have to do that. You know, I'm not that dumb to go out there and do the same mistakes so that I can learn on my own. No, I just learn from watching people. You know what I mean? They make the mistakes, I watch them, and then in my head I'm like, okay, noted, I'm not gonna do that. You know, that's bad, this is good, I can do this, I can do that. I do not have to go out there and make those same mistakes in order for me to learn and know that this is good, this is bad. No, I have no interest in doing any of that. I see something, I learn from observation. I don't have to be through something in order for me to learn whether something is good or bad. And I don't think you should either, you know what I mean? And because I'm such an observer, I have gotten to like learn so much, and I cannot express this enough. Like, man, I'm so grateful again. If that same spiritual concept is real and is true, I am so grateful and I'm so happy and just like grateful that I got to be born in the kind of family that I was born into, because I have learned so much about people in the world in general from simply having these people in my life, good or bad. Some of these people I really, really do get along with them. By these people, I mean my family, and I don't mean immediate family, I just mean like family as a whole, you know, immediate and, you know, distant relatives and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I have learned so much from these people, every single one of them. Even the people that you might think that like, what can you even learn from this person? I have learned so much, and I'm so grateful again, whether that concept is real or not, and that we all chose the kind of families that we were born into before we came into this world and this earth to have this human experience, so that we can learn more and just like grow as souls. Then I'm so grateful that I got to be born into the kind of family that I was born into, and I'm so grateful for every single person that I have in my family, even the ones that I really do not get along. Because let's be honest, you have a family, there are people that you're really gonna love, and they're gonna love you, and you're gonna get along with them. You will not have to explain yourself to them. They will just love you the way that you are. You will not have to do anything to be loved, or in order for you to deserve their love. You just have to exist, and they will just love you. They will just like you, and that is that. And you will just get along with them. You will not have to explain anything to these people in order for them to understand you. They will just understand you. They will just get you. This could be your dad, your mom, your mother, your father, your siblings, one of your siblings, or an aunt, an uncle, grandparents, again, a cousin. It could be anyone. You do not have to do or to like put so much work in order for you to get along with these people. Then there's also these kinds of people that you really have to do too much in order for you to like get along, because for some weird reason you guys just do not get along. Okay, again, it could be anything. These people in your family, it doesn't matter what you do, you just do not get along with them. And it doesn't have to be this thing of like they are the bad guy or you're the bad guy, and they're the villain or you're the villain, and one of you is like a bad person. I'm sure those things happen in families, in every family. But sometimes there is no good guy or bad guy. Sometimes you guys just do not get along. You just cannot see eye to eye. You have different mindsets and different outlooks on life, and that is okay. That is fine. And these people, you really will have to like work so hard in order for you to like have a good relationship, and in order for you to coexist with each other in harmony. And that is, you will learn so much, you know what I mean? The good people, the bad people, the people that you get along with, the people that you do not get along with. Oh my goodness, even the people that are just like chaotic and they're just too much, and you're like, what can I even learn from these people? Even the people that are like smart or dumb or interesting or not interesting, you can learn from every single person that you have in your family. And I can tell you this, I have learned and continue to learn from every single thing, from every single person, sorry, that I have in my family. And that's something that I really, really do appreciate, to the point where all these times that I've had to like go into the real world where I didn't have my family or friends with me, or I wasn't in my circle of people, it wasn't hard for me to like, it has never been hard for me to connect with people that are like outside of my bubble. And again, I am not that naive. I've dealt with every single kind of person that you can possibly think about, good or bad, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, to the point where I am not naive, you know what I mean? I am not naive. It's not hard for me to connect to people out there, because again, I've seen it all. I have seen it all, and that's something that I'm really, really grateful for, something that I really do appreciate, and I think you should as well. There is always something that you can learn from every single one of the people that you have in your family and in your life and close like circle, you know what I mean? And I personally have learned so much, you know what I mean? The good people, I've learned so much. The bad people, you've learned so much, I have learned to spot the good people in my life, the people who are not good, the people who have good intentions, people who do not have good intentions, and all that kind of stuff. Narcissists, liars, manipulators, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like all these kinds of people. And again, some of these people I do not have. There's some of the people that I have in my family, I do not have to do anything in order for me to like get along with them. We just do. I just get them. I just understand them, and they just get me. They just understand me. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to put any work in order for me to get along with them. And others, not so much. And others I have to like put so much work in order for us to get along, because again, we do not see eye to eye, we do not have the same mindset, we don't have the same philosophy and outlook on life, generally speaking, and that is okay. They do not have to be the bad guy, and I do not have to be the bad guy. And I have learned so much. I've learned to be resilient from these people. I've learned to be patient. I've learned to be more forgiving. I've learned to be more kind to people and empathetic and compassionate. I've learned to again spot the good people, the bad people, people who have good intentions for you, people who do not have good intentions for you. And all these things is something that I've really gotten to learn, and I'm just so grateful for that. Again, you think that there is nothing that you can learn from every single person. You can always learn something from every single person that you have in your life and in your family, but there is. There is always something that you can learn from someone, whether you like them or not. Some of these people will teach you to be patient, because sometimes we have difficult people in our families, or people that we just do not get along, and you're like, oh man, I do not like this person, we do not get along, I don't like them, and we just don't get along, we can't see eye to eye. And instead of you looking at that and you hating and despising this person and be like, I do not want to have a relationship with them, how about you change that perspective and ask yourself, well, what can I learn from this person in my family who is like difficult? You know what I mean? They're challenging your beliefs and the things that you believe in and things that you believe to be true. You do not see eye to eye to these people. You always have to ask yourself, instead of being mad, and you disliking these people and hating them and you not wanting to be around them and basically cut them off, how about you start asking yourself, what can I learn from this person? What are they teaching me? And I think from these people, with me, these people that are like difficult, or that I just like maybe might not like that much, or that I don't see eye to eye, I always ask myself, what can I learn from this? And I can tell you this, a lot of these people, they have really taught me to be forgiving when they do something wrong, and I've just learned to be more forgiving. Some of these people have really taught me to really be patient and keep my cool, and not always be the kind of person to blow up and be so reactive, and learn to be more in control of my feelings and the things that I say and the way that I react and choose to show up as. Because my goodness, naturally I am not the kind of person to explode. I'm not that. I'm a very calm person. I am not the kind of person to explode, and this is something that I have learned from the people in my family. There's people that are difficult, or that you don't get along with. Maybe they say something that trigger you, something that you do not like, or treat you in a way that you do not like. You always have to ask yourself, what can I learn from this person who is difficult? Maybe they're trying to teach you to be more empathetic and understanding and compassionate, and learn to just be more in control of yourself, your feelings, your emotions, and not always be the kind of person to be reactive, and always be in control of your feelings and the way that you react and choose to show up as. There is always something that you can learn from somebody. You can even do the same thing with the opposite. Those people who are those people that you have in your family that are almost too good to be true. They're so kind and so nice and so loving, to the point where people take advantage of them and they treat them like absolute crap. People do them wrong, and they always forgive them and always take people back. And maybe instead of you looking at that and asking yourself and thinking in your head these people are dumb, they're stupid, they always let people treat them like crap, and people treat them absolutely horrible, they do not respect them, they're treated like doormats and all this kind of stuff. Maybe instead of thinking like that and having that negative kind of mindset and perception of them, maybe you can ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? What can I learn from them? Maybe just maybe I need to learn to be more empathetic. Maybe I need to learn to be more compassionate, loving, kind. I need to learn to be more forgiving, to know that people can change, people can do better. Just because somebody did me dirty once, then it means that they're a horrible person, and that's who they are, and that's what they will always do. Maybe I need to learn to always try to give people maybe a second chance, and let people back in, and you know what I mean. Again, you always have to respect yourself and have your boundaries in place, but again, you can always learn something from every single person that you have in your life, and every single dynamic, you know what I mean? And you can even with every single family, something that I like to think about is I like to believe that every family has a mirror. You know, this person is basically one of those people that kind of like reflects back to you who you are. For example, if you have insecurities and unresolved trauma and insecurities, there will always be someone in every single family. It could be me, it could be you, it could be anyone. Someone that basically reflects something back to everyone. Maybe the kind of family that you have is those kinds of family that do not like to talk about things and conflicts. You know, when there is something bad happening, conflict happening, they sweep every single thing under the rug. They don't want to talk about it, they don't want to explore that, they don't want to sit and talk about that and walk through every single thing and see what's wrong and how they can fix that. Every single family would have that one person who's like, no, we're not gonna hide this, we're gonna bring this up, you know, we're gonna bring this thing up and talk about it right now. We cannot hide it. And every single time somebody tries to hide that or tries to like sweep things and problems under the rug, there will always be this kind of person who's like a mirror to show every single person back to them their insecurities and their traumas and things that they're trying to run away from. And every single family, again, I'm sure they have this kind of person, and most of the time this person is not well liked. Again, they're not well liked because again, they will reflect you back your own insecurities and unresolved issues. You know what I mean? Like if there is something that I do not like about myself, this person will always reflect it back to me. Or unresolved trauma, problems, they will always reflect it back to you. You know what I mean? Insecurities is things that you might not, you know, unfulfilled dreams or wasted potential, they will always reflect that back to you. Again, there is something that you can always learn from every single person that you have in your life. And I just find that to be so fascinating because again, I have learned so much from my family and all these dynamics that sometimes I sit and think to myself like, oh my god, like if this thing is true and we all chose our families before coming here, then I understand why. Like every single person, by everyone I mean every single one of them, I can now look at them and be like, I understand why I have you in my life, you know? I can think you taught me to set boundaries up and not let people treat me like crap and basically be strict. You taught me to be more soft and be more empathetic and kind and compassionate. You taught me to not be very trusting, but also know that I do not have to be too much or do too much in order for people to like me, and people can just like me the way that I am without me having to do anything. With others, they will teach you to learn to just like leave people alone and know that you cannot save everyone. You cannot save everyone. Some people will go into destructive behaviors. There's nothing that you can do to save them, to help them get better, to help them be a better person and do this. Basically, if people want to change, they can do that on their own. There is nothing that you can do to change anyone's mind or try to like control them or tell them don't do this, don't do that. People do things when they want to do them, and people stop doing things when when they want to stop doing them. You cannot save everyone, and they can teach you to basically learn to save yourself and learn to love people, but from a distance, and know that it's not always your responsibility to try and save every single person that you love. Others that will teach you to learn to be more emotionally intelligent and learn to like regulate your nervous system and be in control of your emotions and your thoughts and not let anything that's like outside of you control you. You know what I mean? Not let anyone's words or actions affect you in a negative way, and for you to just like not be this person who's always triggered and reactive, and for you to learn like it doesn't matter what this person says or does or about me, or if they try to make me, I don't know, insecure or make me or try to paint me to be like the bad guy and all this kind of stuff. I can look at them, listen to all the crap that they have to say, and still choose to like create this like energy field around me and not like let those words or like bad vibes or bad energy affect me. You know what I mean? You can always learn something from every single person that you have in your life. Again, I'm not saying this for you to be like a weird creep and be like try to be some kind of manipulator. I'm not, it's just that again, I've been more observant in my life with every single person that I have in my life, to the point where I know everyone. I know how everyone is. I know how to deal with them. I just know it's easier for that, even with the people that you do not get along with them, the people that you can see eye to eye, and you just have different, completely different philosophies and perspectives on life. You can always understand like I can know how to coexist with these people, even though I do not like them very much, even though I know they're not the best people, maybe they're not good people, but I still can learn how to coexist with them and still live with them under the same roof with them, or not, or maybe their family or whatever. You can just learn how to like coexist with them in peace without having, or like without creating any kind of like conflict and bad blood. You know what I mean? There's always something that you can learn from somebody, everyone. You know what I mean? Every single person that you have in your family, you just have to be more observant of those dynamics. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying this for you to be some kind of like master manipulator. I'm not. I've just been more observant, and these skills have just helped me to deal with any kind of person, literally any kind of person. It will help you at school, at a workplace, when you're in the real world and dealing with all these kinds of people. It will just be easier for you to deal with people, because you will look at people and be like, I've seen this before. My sister is like this, my uncle is like this, my grandfather is like this. You know what I mean? It will be an easier thing to deal with, and with that you can learn to be more socially aware and be emotionally intelligent and smart. And those are the kind of skills that you think that everybody has. Not everyone has them. They're the kind of skills that one can acquire from real life experience. You know what I mean? From you having to deal with all these difficult situations and these difficult people, and you having to like overcome that, then you can learn to be more emotionally mature and intelligent, because you can see the way that people act, whether it's at school or in a workplace, and like not let that get to you or trigger you, because you can think like, okay, I've seen this behavior before from somebody that I know in my life, so I'm not gonna let any of the things that they do get to me. You know what I mean? And again, it's just something that I wanted to talk about. There is always something that you can learn from somebody, and if that whole spiritual concept of we chose our families before we came here into this world to have this human experience so that we can learn as souls, then I'm lucky. Then I'm glad that I got to choose the people that I got to choose, because again, I've learned so much from these people, good, bad, the beautiful things, the ugly stuff, and not so good things. But nonetheless, you still love these people because they've taught you so much. And I have grown so much as a person, to the point where it does not matter what happens going out into the real world. There is nothing that somebody can do to trigger me or make me feel weird or like provoke me, because I'm like, dude, shut up. I've seen this before. You're not special. We've done this before, so it will be much easier for you to deal with these things. Even when people do me wrong and I do not want to forgive them, I can look at them and be like, okay, I've seen this before as well, and I learned to be more compassionate, empathetic, and more forgiving. And it's just something that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully this episode was not too long, but I enjoyed talking to you guys. Anyways, I love you. Take care of yourself. Sending you virtual hugs and kisses. Join the family if you feel like it. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next one. Like and subscribe. Again, whether this concept is true or not, I don't know. You're gonna have to think for yourself. Anyways, that's all I have to say. I love you. Subscribe. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.